You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to.
First available helper.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
Until midnight, this is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley on 882 6PR.
Must be time to catch up with Ben Aylett, talk about technology and all that other wonderful stuff. By the way, if you want to get in contact with Ben, don't forget benaylett.com is the website. 1L, 2 T's and Aylett, can't miss it.
Yep.
Also, he's in a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah,
Kind of got the don't mess with me because I'm a big, strong bloke look thing happening tonight.
Or I probably should have. Yeah,
ladies might like to get online, check him out. Should also warn you though, he's got a lovely wife, but you wouldn't want to mess with her.
Oh no, you don't mess with Mrs. Aylett.
No, you don't do that.
Yes.
Mate, welcome along. Now,
Thanks very much, mate.
there is a reason why we mentioned Mrs. Aylett.
Yes.
Whether she realised it or not, she became a technical experiment.
Yes, she did. And
What was it? What happened? Give us all the juicy details, and I assume that everything was okay because you live.
yes, I survived. We all survived. We all did well. Okay, so my wife Helen is not a very technical person. A lot of people ask me, so you do technology and everything, so your wife and kids must be good at technology. The simple answer is no, because they've got me to do it all for them. So, so a lot of the time, they're kind of unaware of what technology is capable of. Now, I was lucky enough to be contacted by Phil Eads of City Toyota in Northbridge. And he said, would you like to test the brand new Toyota Corolla Hybrid, the 2018 Toyota Corolla Hybrid? And being a fan of Toyota and Corollas and hybrids, I said, you beauty, let's do it. And so I had a Toyota Corolla Hybrid to drive around on the weekend. And I also, well, because I was so full of technology, I thought it'd be fun to have Helen drive for a little while and see what she thought. And I do believe I sent you a clip. Now, just before we dive into this,
Better qualify this, yeah.
Better qualify this. So this audio was taken from a video I tried to shoot. The picture was really bad because it was dark, but it was on the freeway. I had the Helen driving. I was in the passenger seat, kids in the back.
All right.
Okay, so we hit the freeway, and then I enable cruise control, and look, just roll the tape.
Both your hands off. Both hands.
What?
Take your hands off the wheel.
No.
Take your hands off the wheel.
Why?
Trust me. Take your hands off the wheel.
I've got a car right up my backside.
Can
you not
see?
Okay. All right. So from that's actually just a preview. There is a longer clip. I'm sorry. I might have missed it and put it somewhere else. But what happens is I actually convinced...
Hang on a second.
Have you got it?
Let's try this
the
other
first one
one.
I sent you. Okay, so we'll try it again.
Let's try this other one.
Take both your hands off. Both hands.
What?
Take your hands off the wheel.
No.
Take your hands off the wheel.
Why?
Trust me. Take your hands off the wheel.
I've got a car right up my backside.
Can
you not
See? It keeps in the lane for you. It does the steering.
What?
Yes.
What the hell? Are you kidding me?
No. Okay.
I'm so nervous
Okay.
right now. Oh my God. I feel like...
so I actually convinced Helen to put total faith in this little Toyota Corolla that had
I
cruise
suppose if
control
it went
enabled.
pear-shaped, there was no point in saying I'm going to kill you because the car crash would probably take care of that for you.
Yeah, but so this is one of the main things that I really like.
She
about
didn't
the
sound
picture.
happy, mate.
Well, she did get used to it pretty quickly. So I've got to admit that Helen took to it like a duck to water. She enjoyed it once she managed to figure out the concept that this car was driving itself. And I'm not talking just adjusting speed. It was also able to keep itself in the centre of the lane by steering itself.
And it was able to take the bends and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, as the freeway curved, it followed the curve of the freeway as well. So this is, for me, this is a really big step in automotive technology where this sort of tech is not just reserved for the high end of the market. So not for your Mercedes and your Teslas and all the other stuff. We are now getting this into packages that are under $30,000. For less than $30,000, you can get yourself a brand new Toyota Corolla with all this technology in the base model.
So how does it work? Does it work on the basis of once you're on cruise control?
Yep.
So cruise control is the determining factor. So what happens the moment you touch the brake, bang.
That's right.
It.
Yeah.
It's off as well as cruise control is off.
That's right. So just like the hybrid, you are getting the best of both worlds. So you do have that manual control, even though, to be honest, that manual control is really through electronic levers and wheels and things. So you don't really have a direct connection to the steering or the brake or the accelerator. That's all by wire. So this is drive-by-wire.
Yep.
They've now got the safety technology that has been yelling at you when you drift out of the lane, or that keeps the speed right or stops you from smashing into a car in front of you. All that technology is now being rolled into something a little more intelligent that is actually a little more active. And I had a look at the standards for automation, because I must admit, when we saw Google Duo,
I must go and take one of these for a run, actually, just to see what it's like.
You've got to take it for a run. So the Toyota Corolla, you've always got to have a look at the Toyota Corolla first, because that's where they're putting the new tech.
Yep.
That's where the new tech is landing first. Then we see it go into the Camry and all the other stuff, and that's pretty much where it's all tested out, because it's their biggest selling model.
Of course it is.
Yes.
G'day, Mark.
Yeah, how are you, Chris and Ben?
Very well, Mark.
Don't really have a technical question for you, but I just want to make a comment on that car that you're talking about.
Yep.
I reckon this is one of the greatest problems on the road of today. They got so much rubbish that people don't have to drive a car. Well, maybe people shouldn't be getting a licence if they're building cars like this, because it's only as good as the people that are actually operating the vehicle. If they're not operating the vehicle, and then all of a sudden an emergency happens, they're going to have to rely on the car to do the stopping or to swerve or to do whatever. But this is where it's all getting out of control, because it shouldn't. If you're going to drive a car like that, well, you shouldn't be on the road, I'm afraid to say.
All right. Well, look, fair enough, and that's a fair comment there, Mark. And you are looking down the path quite a distance, where you're looking at where cars will be taking over the driving completely. We're not quite there yet. This technology, I asked Helen to take her hands off the wheel just for a second, just to demonstrate how the technology worked. You actually use it and you cover everything, so you've still got your hands on the wheel. It'll actually beep at you if you don't have your hands on the wheel for like more than 5 or 6 seconds. So you've always got to have your hands on the wheel, always got to be aware of what's going on. And it's more assistive technology instead of taking over at this point in time.
Well, mate, it's the same as I got a truck that I drive now. It's that brake assist sits on the windscreen, and if it's going to happen, if you think you're going to be too close, it'll actually go off. And to be truthful, I've never had an accident in a truck yet.
Yep.
And mate, that scares the living crap out of me, and almost makes me have an accident when it goes off.
yeah, it's a bit like that. So that assistive technology, it's got to be used carefully. So it can't be used as a crutch or a way to compensate for being a bad driver. You've still got to be a good driver. You've still got to know how to operate a vehicle.
Mark's got a good point, because a mate of mine's got one of those things that does braking.
Yep.
Yeah, the automatic braking.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he hates it. And I said, why? He said, because, let's say, for example, you crawl too close to somebody, right? Or somebody gets too close to you and you want to brake.
Yeah.
He said it's not taking into account the fact that if you brake, you might end up with someone up your clacker.
Yes, but that would be true whether you did the braking or the car did.
No, but you could make a decision as to how you were going to handle it.
Yeah.
Right? What he's saying is it takes the decision out of your hands.
Yeah.
And let's say, for example, in that scenario, you might decide that you want to duck around or duck to the left-hand side to avoid it. That might be your preferred option.
Yeah.
Well, this takes that out of your hand and just simply brakes. And I suppose what I'm talking about there is how the technology integrates with people. Is it an assistant to the person?
Yes.
Or is it something that takes control and decision away from the person? Because if it's the latter, that's when for a lot of people it becomes a problem.
Yeah. Well, the latter is not where we're at right now. We are right now, even the best of the technology, like you see in the Teslas, it is still called assistive technology. It's not designed to take things over completely. So it's more assistive. And I found that over the weekend that I was driving, and I put a few kilometres on this car, and I actually found myself more relaxed. Actually, I felt better after a drive. Usually after a long drive.
Geez, your wife didn't sound too relaxed.
Well, that's fun. That's for fun.
Yeah, you sounded like you were having much more fun than she was, mate.
10 questions, 10 correct answers. The $1,000 minute.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app,
Print image.
and we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're
6PR, this is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley.
Yep. Welcome to it. Ben Aylett's here from Easy Wireless. BenAylett.com is the website. He's also known by his other name. He's going to start a website soon. It's called How to Scare the Hell Out of the Wife.com and also How to Make Yourself Very Unpopular for Several Weeks.com. G'day, Tim.
Oh, good evening, gentlemen. Fascinating what you're talking about so far. I do prefer to be in control of the car myself, really. But the question I have for you, Ben, is this technology able to take it further, for example? Like if you want to get off on Hutton Street, for example, and go towards Osborne Park, can it exit off Hutton Street for you, or do you have to do that yourself still?
You've still got to do that yourself. So it's really only good for when you're travelling long distances on mostly straight roads. It won't take corners, but it will take curves.
Oh, okay, yeah, I much prefer to be in control of these things myself.
What he's telling you, Tim, is it's linked up to the cruise control.
Yep.
So what would happen is if you were going down the freeway and you wanted to exit at Hutton Street, as soon as you hit the exit, you'd brake. That would take the cruise control, and therefore this auto system that Ben's talking about. What's the name of it, Ben?
The assistive technology. So there's a few components, but we'll just bundle it all in and call it assistive technology.
Well, the assistive technology kicks out at the same time as the cruise control.
Yep.
Well, that's a relief to a degree because, you like to be in control of where you can enter and exit and things like that.
Exactly, yep. So, yes, you've still got that control. I found this morning with the usual commute on the Mitchell Freeway, you know how it's bumper to bumper and super slow. The cruise control actually took me right down to a stop when the traffic stopped and then picked up again. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about it. It was really taking the strain out of commuting for me. Really like that part. But yes, you still need to maintain control and you still have to take control when you want to take corners. So we're not quite there yet.
Thanks very much for that, Tim.
Thanks for the call.
What was your overall impression?
Overall, the car itself was a little bit smaller on last year's. So the back seat felt a little more cramped, but there was a complete redesign of the body, of the interior. The interior is actually really quite nice, and that's where it counts these days. People are more interested in the interior and how it feels to drive from the seat. They're not so concerned about the outside styling because, to be honest, you're not looking at it that when you're driving it. But it is a factor.
You still don't want a car that looks like a piece of crap.
Exactly, yeah. A few things that I did notice is that compared to last year's model was all about having nice sort of touch surfaces and these little toggles and little flipper button things, and they were a little bit cumbersome to use. The 2018 is back to solid push-button switches and knobs. So we're going back to the old way of controlling things, which worked perfectly. It was really nice.
You like that feeling of knobs and switches and
and that nice tactile feedback. As nice as having a touch panel goes. And these were recessed buttons behind like a plastic or a glass face.
Yep.
And they lit up, and it looks nice, but it feels difficult to use, especially while you're driving. Which is tricky,
and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Too. It's also about how comfortable people are. Now, the other question is, despite the fact that you clearly were enjoying yourself and your lovely wife Helen wasn't so much. How adaptive do you think this is for somebody who's like her a little bit reluctant? How easy would they adapt to it, do you think?
Well, switching on the cruise control, which is the adaptive cruise control, it all happens at once. So you arm it and then you set it, and that's it.
Like you do with a cruise control.
It works like any other cruise control, which is a real relief. It's nothing special, nothing weird.
How easy are people getting comfortable with it, though?
Well, that'll depend on the person. Helen found the cruise control, once she got used to it, she was actually quite relaxed with it. It was really nice.
It's a matter of getting used to it.
Exactly. It's all it is. It's people adapting to the technology.
John.
Yeah, g'day, Chris and Ben. Just a quick question.
Yes.
I was considering buying office, home and business 2016. Someone told me at a party last night they were bringing a new version out early 2019. Have you heard anything?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because I'm an Office 365 subscriber. So I pay a fee every year, and that ensures that I've always got the latest version. It's always up to date. So you were looking at buying the outright version, or was it
the outright version? Yeah.
And how much is that?
$297 for the blue store with the yellow writing.
Yep. Okay. Have you considered Office 365?
The thing that scared me off a bit was the $100 a year, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's right. It is $100 a year, but with that $100 a year, you get Office. So that's your Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, all the rest of it, and you also get 1 terabyte of storage with OneDrive, which is a hell of a lot of storage.
Hell.
Yeah, I know. It's not bad. And you've always got the latest version. It's always up to date.
Yeah, and you can terminate it at any time.
You can terminate it at any time, yes.
Yeah. They want you. Do you have to do a direct debit, Ben?
No. Well, you usually put your credit card details in there,
Yeah.
And you can have it automatically deduct if you like, or there is an option where they'll remind you to say, hey, you're about to run out.
Yeah.
You better go and pay if you want to keep it.
Yeah, that'd be my preferred way, because some of these things, if you got it as a direct debit,
yep.
You can have problems with some companies trying to cancel the direct debit.
Yeah, look, I don't think you'll have that problem with Microsoft. I've dealt with Microsoft for many years, and I suppose as far as big software company goes, they're real stand-up guys.
Yeah, beauty, man. Thanks for that.
No worries, mate. Thanks for calling, John.
No, thanks very much for that, John.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, good questions.
Always good questions. And that's why I like coming in on Monday nights to talk to the listeners, because you guys actually come up with some really good questions that I know the answers to, but it's stuff that I haven't thought about for years, because I've covered
kind of stuff that what happens is you think about it and then somebody says, gee, this is a major problem.
Yeah. Now, and look, speaking of questions, I actually did post a little thing on social media to say, hey, I'm going to be testing this hybrid car over the weekend. If you've got any questions, feel free to let me know. And I had someone by the name of Brett, g'day Brett if you're listening, ask why are hybrid cars so expensive? And actually that question...
Well, actually, I can answer why they were so expensive, because you're paying the R&D. It's like everything.
Yep. So they used to be expensive, which is good news, because it was, yes, the R&D, but also on top of the petrol engine and all the other usual stuff you had, there's also a big battery and a big motor and that really weird transmission that made everything work together as it does. But I can say that now getting a hybrid car, well, if we're talking the Toyota Corollas, you're talking around about $1,500 difference. So if I was to get a petrol car and decide, no, I want to get a hybrid instead, $1,500 around about will put me into a hybrid of the same model.
You can't complain about that.
You can't complain about that, especially since the fuel consumption drops through the floor. I'm averaging at the moment around about 4 litres per 100 kilometres, and that means I'm getting about 700 or 800 kilometres per tank, which means I only fill up maybe once every 2 weeks instead of every week. So it is effectively halved my petrol bill.
Gee, that's significant, isn't it?
It is significant. When you're thinking $50 for a tank, that's a lot.
Sure is. G'day, Matt.
How's it going?
Good, mate.
Yeah, I only came in halfway through the conversation, so I was just curious to know what you were test driving, and the receptionist told me it was a Corolla hybrid.
Yes, it was the 2018 Toyota Corolla hybrid. The hatch.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I actually work for a Toyota dealer, so it was just a bit curious.
Yeah. I'm actually really impressed with it. I'm sure you guys have had a look at it and you think, gee, that's not too bad.
Well, I'm actually driving a Camry hybrid at the moment, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I love it. And it's easy to see that they're becoming very popular and very economical to run, because they're used by all the Uber drivers and all the taxi drivers.
Yeah, well, I'm currently on about just over 300 Ks, and I've only done quarter of a tank, so it's going to get me quite far.
Yeah, it is. It's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, no worries. Okay.
All right, thanks, mate.
No, thank you very much for that, Matt. By the way, if you'd like to have a chat to Ben, 92211 882 is our number.
The Scarborough Toyota Rumour File.
No app has been in contact with us. The Lotteries Commission app, you know, the one you have on your phone, hasn't been working for 48 hours.
Oh, really?
So I actually had a quick look, and it says it's under maintenance. Must be a big job.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to. First available helper.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app,
Correct image.
and we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
This is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley on 882 6PR.
Yes, indeed. Ben Aylett's here talking technology. And by the way, if you'd like to have a chat to Ben, you can do so. 92211 And his website's benaylett.com. That's where you'll find all of the contact information. And is that also where we'll see this review that you've done?
That's right. Yeah, so I've done a big old write-up. I do plan on doing some video later on as well. So I'm actually very impressed with this, and I'm quite pleased that I got the opportunity to review it.
Yeah. Sounds pretty good.
Sounds really good.
While you were doing that, you know how you can go to places and custom build a computer?
Yes.
I custom built myself a computer.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm going to be able to talk Bernadette into letting me buy it, though. How much do you reckon it cost?
Oh, well, you could go crazy. You could have multiple hard drives, multiple video cards.
Yeah, I have.
It's not
Well, I've only got 4 of those because it won't let me have any more.
4 video cards?
Yes.
Okay.
And I've got four drives.
Yeah,
Got
okay.
4
SSDs?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I got everything.
Yeah, okay. Well, my guess would be putting it pretty close to $10,000.
No, mate. When I go serious, I go real serious. $17,282.
Oh, obviously, I was thinking of the budget end. Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, no. I started from the top end and just kept on working up.
All right. So we got things like the Core i9 processor, I bet, or the Core i7.
Core i7.
Core i7. Okay. Yeah. You've probably got 64 gig of RAM.
No.
128.
Yes.
Okay. 128 gig of RAM, the biggest SSD hard drives you can find on the most expensive motherboard you can find. Yes, great stuff. Yeah, it just goes to show what you can put into it. And what would you use this computer for, mate?
Oh, taking over the world.
most people would say, oh, just a few emails, bit of web surfing.
No, could play my YouTube videos a bit faster.
You probably don't want that. You'd miss it.
Hey?
You'd miss it all at that rate.
Go back and play them twice, Like it's so nice, I think I'll play it twice.
Yeah, no, you could play all your video games.
I just realised, hang on, I just realised I shortchanged myself on some graphics cards. Hang on a sec.
How many graphics cards have you got in there?
2.
Okay.
I only had 1.
Right, yes.
But I've realised I can have 2. It's now $21,981.
What's the graphics card you got in there?
Graphics card is a GTX Titan 5.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, 12 gigabytes.
Yes, recently released. They cost as much as a car sometimes.
I wonder what would happen if I went to Bernadette and said I want to spend 22 grand on a computer.
Yeah, well...
You know what I reckon she'd say? Funeral would be cheaper.
Yes.
G'day, Jared.
Chris, Ben, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. Jared, what's up, mate?
I just got a quick question. I know it's near the end of the show.
Yeah.
We were with a previous ISP company, but we've still got TIL investigations going for bloody knows how long.
Yep.
The point is that every time they ring us up, they want to know our details. Right?
They being the old ISP?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So they want to know my name, they want to know my address, they want to know where I work in the company and everything like that. Is that legal?
Sorry?
What was that last bit, Jared?
They want to know all the details from me when they ring me up.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
So,
he's got a good point there, because what he's saying is they're asking him the question and saying we're from whoever.
Yep.
And Jared's saying, well, how do I know you are who you say you are?
Yep. Look,
exactly right.
Exactly. I get this a lot as well, not only for myself but for my clients. And what I always do, sorry, if they call me asking questions, I simply fire back and I say, and politely, of course, I say, since I can't verify your identity, I'm not going to divulge any information. I'm not going to hand over any personally identifiable information. And almost every single time they go, oh, yeah, fair enough. And they leave it at that. And then they either say, well, you can call our main number and quote this reference number. And they don't give me a number because I'm going to go and look it up. So, yeah.
That's right. They don't give me a reference number. They just basically hang up or something. Hang up on us. Yeah. And then they send us an email saying that you refuse to talk.
No, okay. Well, if they try to strong arm you to do anything because you refuse to talk, you can turn around and say, well, you couldn't verify your identity. They don't have a leg to stand on in my mind. You can't do it.
I've said that on many occasions, but then, apparently with the TIO, they say that we have to communicate with them every single week.
You know what I would do?
We try to do this. Sorry?
You know what I'd do? I'd ask them, I'd say to them that we have to give each other a code, like a PIN code, right?
Okay.
Yep.
That way, at least, you've got some way of saying they know if they ring you that they have to quote this code. That would make more sense.
Yep. You could take it a step further and you could say, you could perform an identity check on them. So you could do something like, can you tell me the last invoice number you sent to me? They should have that record on hand.
Anymore, and we've tried to go down that track, and we have had to, cut a long story short, write to the FIO.
Yep.
And they reckon it takes 45 days to get in contact with them, but it's been near on 90 days already.
Yeah.
And we can't ring them. We can't email them. It's all by letter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you very much. We're going to have to take this on board, Ben. We're going to have to do some investigation because everything Jared says is absolutely right. When somebody rings up and they say, I am they.
Yes.
Now, can we confirm some information? Hang on a second. All you got to do half the time is say yes. It's polling practice.
Yeah.
All right. Even if they could say something like, we've just sent a code to your phone, what is it?
Yes. Yeah, so some sort of two-factor authentication.
Yeah, okay. Good day, Jared. How are you? It's Chris here. Mate, I just sent a number to your phone. Can you quote it back to me, please? And he goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go, right, beauty, that's it.
That's still open to exploitation.
It's better than what we got now.
Well, I mean, I could call someone and say, hey, I'm from Telstra. I've just sent a number to your phone.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm not from Telstra.
But then
if I know their number, which I've called them on, I can send them a code and say, hey, I'm Telstra.
They've got to address you, Mr. Aylett.
Yes.
Right, they've got to address you.
Yes.
Well, if they're a scammer or something, they don't know what your name is.
Get out of the phone book. It's not that hard to pull it out of the direction.
A mobile phone. How many people have mobile phone numbers in a book? Phone book's obsolete, mate. Yeah, it's only landline
phone
numbers
listings,
in there.
Yeah. But look, there's better ways to do it, and I'm sure we can work it out.
Yeah, but it's got to be a way that works better for the customer as well.
Yeah.
Hi, Val.
Hi. Now, I'm a stupid old...
What have you done, Val?
I want to know I'm not up with the modern techniques, but when they bring you up now, the geek at the moment is the one I'm mainly ringing about. They tell you ring them, we'll be there in an hour. Our number is geek, and then a word after it. how in the hell do I know what that word means?
Right. Okay. So they say call us on 13 geek. Is that right?
Right. Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
And what
yeah.
Val's saying is she doesn't know what the geek part
Now,
means.
how do we spell things out when we're dialing a phone? Okay, Val.
I'm 81, mate. I'm not 21 anymore.
Well, look, the good news is you don't have to be 21 in order to spell things on a phone. It's it's all there.
Yeah, now, that's all right for geek, but sometimes they have like M's and T's and that in the word.
Uh-huh.
Now, if it was just geek, I could say, well, G was such and such a number, and is 4. Do you know what I mean?
That's right, yeah. So the way it
How do
works...
I get the K?
The K? Well, the K is 5. So if we look at our phone dialer, our phone pad, so if you've got a phone, you've probably got a phone in front of you, I'd bet. If you have a look at the number...
I'm talking to you on it, love.
Exactly. So when you jump off the phone... you know, how when you dial a number, you've got the numbers in front of you, and you look under each number and you'll see letters. So number 1 doesn't have anything underneath it, but number 2 has got A, B, and C. So if we wanted to do, let's say we'll do geek. So let's see, G is under the 4. So 4 for G, 3 has E under it, so 4, 3, 3, and then 5 for the K.
So it'd be
13335.
Yeah, it'd be 134335 in that case. Listen, we can go through this. Time has alerted us now, Val, because we run out of time. But give us a call next week early and we'll go through this with you because it's a really good point.
It is.
And people sometimes need to remember that there are those who don't understand. Ben, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
BenAylett.com, the website. You'll also see his review on the Toyota Camry Hybrid with the smart technology.
10 questions, 10 correct.